Hey to Z, domain to genus here, and welcome back to another 11 Enlightenments. On this week's episode, ivy. Ivy is a common name for plants belonging to the genus Hedera. Though many other plants share the common name of ivy, it is only the 13 or so species of the genus Hedera which are ivies. The genus name Hedera has two synonyms, Hedera remaining the correct name to use. These names are helix and cedera. The species Hedera helix is commonly known as common ivy, as well as English or European ivy. It grows naturally throughout Western Eurasia from Ireland to Iran. There are three subspecies of H. helix, those being H. helix helix, H. helix rhizomatifera, and H. helix poetarum, the latter having the synonym of Hedera chrysocarpa, and being the only one of the three subspecies to have orange or yellow fruit. H. helix had another two subspecies, but these are now considered to be the separate species of Canarian ivy and Irish ivy. These are both found towards the Atlantic coast of their respective islands, but have spread to the mainlands of Europe and Northern Africa respectively too. Because of its natural distribution, Canarian ivy grows faster than Irish ivy or common ivy in warmer climates. As ivies are only native to Europe, Africa, and Asia, Hedera is an invasive species to the Americas and Australasia. Some species, like H. helix in the USA state of Oregon, have been banned from being sold or imported. A major threat ivy poses to native plants is that, being able to climb trees, it will often topple saplings due to the excess weight provided by the ivy, which cannot be supported. Despite its invasions, ivies in their indigenous areas are a vital part of the ecosystem. This stems from ivies tending to produce nectar and bear fruits during times when few other plants do. Perhaps the most notable species ivy supports is the ivy bee, Colletes hederae. This species was only found to be distinct in 1993 and almost exclusively visits ivy flowers. Many species of ivy have been confused for other species over time. One such example is cypress ivy, and whether or not it is a subspecies of the species Hedera pastochovi. The distinction between the species comes from cypress ivy's distinct red stems and white patterns upon its leaves. Yet, it has not been found to be of a great genetic difference to H. pastochovi, and the proximity of their native ranges means cypress ivy wasn't originally seen as its own species. Japanese ivy is another species with a tangled history of nomenclature. Known as Hedera rhombia, due to the rhombus or diamond-like shape of its leaves, it is thought to have the synonym Hedera pedunculata, but these may still be different species. H. rhombia should also not be confused with Parthenochrysis tricuspidata, which is also known as the Japanese ivy, or the Boston ivy. However, P. tricuspidata isn't a true ivy at all. As a climbing plant, ivies of many species may grow up to 30 meters tall across many surfaces, giving rise to common names such as lovestone and bindwood, including not climbing at all, but instead becoming ground cover. There is of course exceptions to these trends. True Japanese ivy, for example, typically won't grow taller than 10 meters, and H. pastochovi doesn't take to growing as ground cover well. Folklore may also refer to ivy's binding nature as a virtue. In real life, Algerian ivy, Hedera algeriensis, is purportedly used to prevent erosion along some embankments in California. The aerial roots of ivies are known only to be used for support in climbing. This is often misrepresented as ivy stealing nutrients from its frame, but ivy is not such a parasite, and instead only competes for root space and light. Ivy is often seen as a symbol of the ancient Greek god Dionysus, the god of wine and wine-making. Ivy was considered the wild, barren alter ego to the grapevine, and often the followers of Dionysus, or indeed Dionysus himself, would be depicted wearing a wreath of ivy around their heads. The relation of grapes and ivy continued into the Middle Ages, when ivy would be placed about the signs of taverns to show ale was purchasable. It was this practice which spawned the phrase, "A good wine needs no bush." Ivies are also famed for their toxicity. One major component of their toxins is the chemical falcarinol, or 3S9Z-heptadeca-1,9-diene-4,6-diene-3-ol, if you prefer. Small doses of this chemical are also found in carrots, and it is known to cause contact dermatitis. However, this irritant is currently being investigated for its use in combating cancer. And with that, this has been 11 Enlightenments. See you next time.